Alright, so in this video I'm going to teach you how to make indie pop or bedroom pop, however you want to call it, on FL Studio. What's going on, everybody? My name is Álvaro Rubio. I'm an indie artist, a psychedelic artist, and I'm going to be using one of my songs as an example of how to make this kind of style in FL Studio without needing any real instruments. All of this is computer generated. Before we begin though, consider subscribing and hitting the bell for more videos like this. It's free and you can change your mind whenever you want. Without further ado, let's get started. And if you want to listen to the song that I'm going to be using as an example, the link is in the description and the pinned comment, so you can listen to it first and then come back to know how I did it. So let's get started. For reference, the song is called Cool Kids. It's a song about social isolation and just a sort of anxiety I've lived with for a very long time. But anyway, to start off, I'm going to be doing the drums. And as you can see, if you can tell, I'm using a Tame Impala drum pack for these sounds. So as you can see, I have drum sounds from The Moment, The Less I Know The Better, etc, etc. I'm gonna play it one time so you can hear it. I really like this drum pattern. Now, one thing you'll notice is the main thing is a basic, I wouldn't say 4 on the floor, but a disco type of kick snare pattern. Meanwhile, if you focus on the hats, it's like they both play two different melodies, right? So you have one going while the other one's just going, which makes it feel like it has a lot of layers, makes it feel good. I also added for specific parts of the song, because one thing you're going to have to know is that unlike making rap songs where obviously, yeah, you want to add counter melodies and give it some variety in later points of the song, for the most part it's all very repetitive, which is part of its appeal. However, in this, you really want to add like these extra details, extra sets of percussion, extra chord changes and stuff like that. So I also added congas. I absolutely love African and Caribbean music, especially like the rhythm sections. One of my favorite parts are congas. All of these drum packs, by the way, are for free. You can look them up online. Where is it? I have it in ethnic and world. I have it in ethnic and world percussion, and I have like a bunch of different types of sounds, because the great thing about congas is just how much variety you can really do with just one simple drum. You know, it's honestly one of my favorite percussive instruments. Bro, this video is becoming me simping over congas for 2 minutes straight. Jesus Christ. And as you can see, for the drums, I have one version where it's only the hats, one where it's hats with kick and snare, just to add some variety in certain parts of the song. I also have claps in certain points. And what I did to add some variety, as you can see, these are 2 different sounding claps, right? And as you can see, to make it more professional sounding, I panned one to the right, one to the left. But this is one thing you're going to notice. If you're trying to make live sounding claps, don't have just one repeated sound and not have any variety, because when you do that, it sounds fake. It doesn't sound like it's a real person. And the goal of this is you want to make it sound as organic and live as possible. So therefore, if you have different sounds of the same clap, do it. Or even better, which is much more organic. Maybe it's going to be harder if you're not good with keeping on time. But you can just record your own claps. So like stuff like that. But if you prefer just doing already pre-made claps, so I mean, just look up different sounding claps from the same guy, basically. And once you're done with that, it's time to work on the bass. And this is a free bass module that I got over here. Following the whole disco sounding kick and snare, you want to add like a groovy sounding bass. You don't want to make it sound flaccid or anything. So you obviously need to find what scale you're working in so it doesn't sound offbeat. And as you can see, I'm messing around with the velocity over here in order to make it sound realistic, because in real life, you're not going to be playing it perfectly every single time. There is no bass player in the world that can play it in the exact same velocity every time. Some are going to sound louder than others, some are going to sound quieter. And that's why over here, I'm trying to give it some variety and velocity, even if at the end it still sounds pretty leveled. But anyway, putting that all together, you come up with this. Pretty good if I say so myself. Now, the next thing you want to do is the guitar. And I got this by basically getting a free steel guitar. Well, this is different types of guitars. You have acoustic, nylon, and steel, but I got a steel guitar. And then what I did is I went over here and I added a free amp plugin with 𝐕𝐨𝐜𝐚𝐥. It chose a specific plugin. I forgot which one at the moment. And I added some things like some chorus, flanger. How do you say that? I actually have no idea. Obviously a bit of reverb, and a stereo enhancer to make it a little more wide and panoramic. This is how it sounds without any effects. And this is with effects. Yeah, you know what I mean? Sounds very poppy, very ambient, just almost shoegazy to a degree. And once you're done with that, I also added an electric piano to give it like a bit of a jazzy sound maybe. I don't know why I used like the cheapest FL Keys plugin. Obviously I added some stuff over here. Actually no, the only thing I added was an EQ, I guess, to remove like the unwanted frequencies. But yeah, doing that, as you can see, a lot of playing around with velocity, a bunch of stuff like that. And this is the melody that I made. It ended up sounding pretty good, to be honest, even though I used a pretty cheap, like the most standard FL keys, like nothing crazy. It still sounded pretty good and blended in with the rest of the instruments. Couldn't really tell if it were like a MIDI instrument. Maybe you could if you're like a very big instrument nerd, but anyway. And once you're done with that, ultimately this is how it sounds. Sounds very good, sounds very nice. As you can see, I start playing around with the arrangements and stuff like that. So then I add like a little water sounding lead. For the water lead, I used some delay, some reverb, another stereo enhancer. And for different parts of the song, I added different guitar melodies, right? So for the, I guess you can say hook, I did this. I even added some strings over there to make it sound as, you know, pretty as possible. And then later on, I also added a different sound over here. Sounding very good in my opinion, sounding very clean. In that case, that was like a picked guitar instead of just straight chords. And as for the vocals, there's quite a few different channels I use for vocals, all of them basically having the same presets. I used a compressor, the de-esser split band, a fruity limiter, an EQ to remove all the lows, sound organizer to make it crispy, and then I had some slight delay over here, like a ping pong effect, and some reverb to make it sound huge. And this is more just my musical style. I'm very into having like choir effects and stuff like that, like a lot of harmonies, similar to like, I guess, I don't know, Beatles or Animal Collective or something like that. So as you can see, this is how it ends up sounding. Cool kids are running forward just to fall into last. Make me just As you can see, a lot of vocal takes, usually at least like 3 to 4. And it makes your voice just sound very wide, makes it almost heavenly, considering that this is a summery kind of song. a depressing summery kind of song if you read the lyrics, but a summery song nonetheless. And I mean, that's basically it. You just want to have a lot of variety. That's why, as you can see, I have different sounds for the basses, quite a few guitar sounds, different variations for the drums, even some toms, like some 80s style. You know what I mean? Just a lot of variation in the song to keep it fresh. Even at the very end, I literally have like this weird spoken word piece just because I like adding experimentation to the song. So.
And so, our protagonist releases his last clip on the album.
Just some weird stuff, but I like weird, so what are you gonna do? But yeah, guys, this is basically how you make indie pop or bedroom pop type music on FL Studio. If you enjoyed what you've heard, I'd very much appreciate if you can click the link in the description or the pinned comment to listen to the song. It's on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, and it helps me a lot, and I think it's a pretty quality song that you probably will enjoy. But besides that, consider subscribing, consider leaving a like on this video, hitting the notification bell for more videos like this. I do tutorials on mostly indie and hip-hop, but like you can recommend me different stuff. But anyway, guys, this has been the video. Thank you so much for watching, and peace.